Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to today's weekly Sohbet and Dhikr. I hope everybody is well, wherever you're watching this from. Today is the first week of Ramadan. This is the first Dhikr that we're doing this year in Ramadan. Obviously, a very blessed month for all Muslims. And we certainly hope those blessings reach everybody in communities as well, not only for Muslims. Hi. How are you? So, Ramadan obviously is a very important month for Muslims. It's when the revelation is believed to have begun to the Prophet Muhammad SAW. It's a month when Muslims traditionally fast and offer extra prayers and devotions throughout this month. But I mean, what is the real meaning of Ramadan? You know, is it just starving ourselves and not eating or drinking during the daylight hours? What is the purpose? What is it that we are seeking to achieve through this month? I mean, how many people think about that? What's the end goal? I mean, it's good to just follow the practices, even there's blessing in them. These have been instituted by the Prophet Muhammad SAW. And fasting as well, as it's mentioned in the Quran, was something which was ordained for other nations previously. The Jews fast, the Christians fast, Hindus fast, Buddhists fast. Fasting is one of those things which you will find in all different religious and spiritual traditions. It varies though. I mean, like how the Hindus fast is not necessarily between daylight hours, and they might not eat all day, but then they might drink little sips of water. Jewish fasting, I think, more similar to Muslim fasting that we fast during Ramadan. And one time, this would have been something a lot of Christians would have practiced too. Although we see in more recent years that a lot of Christians don't fast, but it is still a part of Christianity. I mean, famously, there used to be monks that used to live out in the desert. I mean, such as Dhikr, who Prophet Muhammad SAW met upon his travels when he was a little boy. And they used to live out in the middle of the desert within Arabia and Syria, Turkey, these remote regions in that part of the world. And also elsewhere in the world, wherever, monks establish themselves. And fasting has long been something which you'll find monks did. And regardless of the religious tradition, they're trying to achieve something similar. So whether it's Buddhist monks fasting or Hindus or Christians or Jews, as well as Muslims during Ramadan, all are trying to achieve something. What is it that they're trying to achieve? Well, basically, if we just eat when we're hungry, then we just immediately, like as soon as that feeling comes, oh, I'm feeling hungry, and I go to the fridge or go to the shop and go and buy something and just immediately eat it, then we are totally enslaved to our desires. And it probably doesn't just stop with food, probably anything which we desire, rather than thinking about whether it is a wise thing to do or whether we actually need to stop and eat or do whatever it is at that particular moment, that we just go ahead and do it. Rather than thinking that, we just go and do it. Now, when people do that, we become slaves of our desires, whether it's our stomach, whether it is some other thought or concept that comes to us, or we're not really thinking things through. We are not really in control of ourselves. We have actually given the control over ourselves to our stomach or to our nafs in some other respect. Now, one of the main things that we try to achieve when fasting is to roll that back a bit. So we are no longer just chained to our desires and enslaved to them, but we actually, we think first, is this a wise thing, what I'm about to do? So what am I really aiming to achieve today? I ate only a couple of hours ago. Do I really need to eat now? Or can I focus on my work or my charity project or some other activity that I need to be getting on with? So you should see, if we roll back from this chasing of our desires, then we can actually tune our minds to be able to focus better. And then use that focus on what it is that we really want to be achieving. One of the things many people notice when they fast is how much time food preparation and eating and drinking, just these, for instance, take up within a day. And that time we could use to do other more practical things. Of course, though, I mean, eating and drinking is one of those things which is very foundational to human societies. And many people enjoy it. Many people, I mean, we haven't had the opportunity in the past year because of lockdown, but one of the most enjoyable things is to be able to spend time with friends and eat and drink with them. And of course, I mean, even during Ramadan, even though we're fasting, we would normally get the opportunity to do that during iftar, when we actually break our fast in the evening. Less so during the early meal before we start fasting, because sometimes people do come together for that as well, but it's more difficult because it's often very, very early in the morning. In the UK at the moment, it's something like about 4 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, it is very early for people. So often people do that in the privacy of their own homes. But maybe in other countries, you'll find also people come together for that meal too. And some people even in the UK. But I mean, during Ramadan, iftar tends to be a very big thing wherever you are in the world. And so, you know, Muslims tend to come together and prepare food, probably about this time normally. A lot of people would be preparing their iftar meals that they would then pass out and give out, which is in Maghrib, which is about an hour's time. So people can break their fasts. Of course, this is talking about traditional foods. It depends what people eat. Sometimes people have quick meals that they can put in the oven and heat up within about 15 or 20 minutes. But often we're not talking about this. We're talking about, you know, traditional meals that are often cooked from basic ingredients. And that takes a bit of time. But during the time before we actually start fasting, right the way through to breaking our fast at iftar, that leaves a lot of time, which during a normal day, we would probably be breaking for meals at least 2 or 3 times. Maybe if it's even some of those is just a snack, but, you know, for coffee breaks and stuff. And it's interesting when we actually stop that. And we then have that time to do something else, to focus. During the first few days of fasting, it might be very difficult. You feel your tummy rumbling, but it's amazing how after a few days, your body actually can adjust and get used to not eating for quite a long period of time. How did this practice of fasting initially emerge? Well, some people actually postulate, certainly within the Abrahamic traditions, that they are, if we look at Abraham, for instance, peace be upon him, I mean, he lived in Iraq, and then he lived in Israel. A lot of the areas where he would have lived are quite arid, deserty, whether they are completely desert or not, but they're quite arid. And if you go back in the day, then, you know, food wouldn't necessarily have been as widely available as it is now. So fasting for a period of time would have been a very practical thing, more so than we would actually understand today, because, you know, we just go to the supermarket, we can buy whatever we want. It's a different situation for most people. So, and that food, it come from all over the world. So even now, if you're like in the Middle East, if you're in Saudi Arabia, or you're in UAE, or one of these Middle Eastern countries where it is predominantly desert, and you wouldn't, well, they are actually bringing in special techniques for farming in the desert now, but, you know, historically you wouldn't have been able to grow much. But now if you go into supermarkets in these countries, they will have every product that you can dream of that you need or want. So it's like food is actually plentiful in that region now due to trade and the wealth that the region has. So it's a whole different ball game. But I mean, if you go back before the modern cities were built, before the oil wealth, before, you know, modern supermarkets and food transportation technologies and all the rest of it, I mean, food would have been a lot more difficult to come by within that region. So fasting wasn't only something that Muslims would have done during the month of Ramadan. They would have literally had little choice a lot of the time. It was a matter of survival, learning to ration your food, spread it out, and not eating all the time so you exhaust your resources. Having that discipline may well have emerged in part because of the desert conditions that the people lived in. But it also has tremendous spiritual blessings to it as well. And so even when we're in a society like, you know, modern societies in most places actually, and we have access to food whenever we want it, for those of us in the world who are fortunate to have that, it's still learning to regulate that and not being controlled by our desires is important. But I feel a lot of Muslims tend to focus on food and not eating during the month of Ramadan. And it's actually not really about food. This is the misconception. I mean, because we don't eat during the day, then the first thing a lot of people think, whether they are Muslims or not Muslims, if they don't know in depth about the religion of Islam, the first thing they tend to think is that this is about food. But actually it's not. It's an exercise in self-discipline, which is meant to achieve something much greater than not eating food. If all you're doing in the month of Ramadan is starving yourself, then that's all you're doing. You're just starving yourself. But the idea is to allow us to have that space for focus, so we can actually focus on our intentions and on Allah and on what we're doing, and to achieve a different level of consciousness. So we become more aware of what we are doing, more focused in what we are doing, and less distracted. I think, yeah, less distracted is actually a very good way of putting it. It's because normally we are so distracted. Food is one of the distractions. Intimacy is another distraction. There are so many distractions. Games are another distraction. TV is another distraction. Being aware of these distractions and how much time they are taking. And that doesn't mean that during normal times we should abstain from everything. Everything has a place. The Prophet Muhammad had people come to him who they fasted all the time, and they didn't spend any time intimately with their wives, or they what was another one? Let's see with their wife. Another one prayed all the time. I think I haven't. Forgive me if I get it slightly wrong. But Prophet Muhammad said, "They're not from me," because they took all of these things, which in moderation are good tools. They're useful. So, for instance, abstaining from food for moderated periods of time is a useful tool to help us to refocus and achieve some degree of self-discipline. Abstaining from intimacy for a time is also a useful tool because it reduces distraction. And also praying at the right times is also a useful tool. But if we prayed all of the time and we didn't stop, then we wouldn't get anything else done. All of these activities are useful in their right parameters. But if we unbalance them, then they cease to be useful and they actually become a problem. This concept of balance is extremely important within Islam. Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, did say, if you go to extremes in your religion, that you will destroy yourselves. We are aiming to be on the Sirat al-Mustaqim. I mean, this is the middle way, the balanced way, not going to one extreme or to another extreme. So it's like eating all of the time, drinking all of the time, being intimate all the time. If we did that, then we wouldn't really get anything done in life, because that would take up all of our time. The nafs is never satisfied, whatever you do, and it would not be good for us. We would put on weight, we would become very unhealthy, we would actually destroy ourselves quickly. On the other hand, abstaining from food all of the time, abstaining from intimacy all the time, religious devotions all of the time without any break from it, it would make us into a very miserable sort of person, because it's too much. It'll be very averse. You know, a lot of people would not be able to cope with that. Some people might actually cope better with that because of their own personal constitution, but it wouldn't suit most people. But a balance, eating at the right time, and fasting sometimes, taking a break. You know, it's like, even like outside of Ramadan, having your breakfast in the morning and then not eating anything until your lunch or your supper, rather than snacking throughout the day, is actually a much more healthy way to be. Whereas a lot of people will snack, you know, they'll grab a packet of crisps, they'll grab a chocolate bar, we've all done it at times, but it's like, if we can cut that down, then we will actually be much more healthy, and we'll keep our weight down as well. And so this time during Ramadan, it's helping to train us to have that discipline, that we think first. Just because we want to do something, we think, is that good for me to do it at this particular time? Is it best for me? Or is it best for me to hold off until later? I can wait a couple of hours. I don't need to do that now. I can carry on with what I'm doing, that is my work or my project or writing a book or doing my art or whatever it is that, you know, you're focusing on at that particular moment. And so you can put more energy into activities which you wouldn't be putting your energy into if you were following distractions. So this is an important part of Ramadan. But there's also another aspect to it. And that is that we watch our behavior. we try not to allow ourselves to get angry. We try to avoid swearing and other bad behaviors that, and bad habits that we might have slipped into during the rest of the year. Of course, for these things, they're usually things that we shouldn't be doing anyway. Or even if they're permitted, it's probably not best. So it's like Ramadan is a time for us to develop that taqwa and to refocus on how we are supposed to be as a Muslim. But of course, it's very important that we don't forget after Ramadan and slip straight back into all of our bad habits. Otherwise, one has to question what was the point of doing Ramadan anyway. The whole purpose of it is to help us become a better human being. The whole purpose of Islam, actually, is to help us be a better human being. When we become slaves of our nafs, Maulana Sheikh Nazim used to liken it to a donkey. That is the animalistic side of our nature. It's like a donkey. If we ride the donkey, or we use that donkey to put our luggage and stuff on and it carries it, that donkey becomes useful. But if, on the other hand, we carry that donkey on our back, then we will destroy ourselves and will not achieve anything. And this is the reality of modern life for a lot of people. We're walking around carrying donkeys on our backs, and we wonder why our life is so hard. It's because we are chasing all of our desires, and those desires are becoming a burden for us. Instead of being more self-disciplined and focusing on those things we really want to achieve, rather than just carrying a load of burdens that are actually going to destroy us, and burdens that are not really going to achieve anything. I mean, it's like if your burden is running a charitable organization that is feeding lots of children in Africa, then your burden is a blessed burden. It is something that no matter how difficult it is for you, you are getting such reward from doing that work. It is tremendous. But if you're putting the same amount of effort into just becoming wealthy and having a bigger house and having more food and better cars and, just these luxuries, and chasing after ever more luxuries, it becomes more and more expensive. So you have to work even harder to get anywhere near those dreams. What you end up doing is you end up carrying that donkey on your back, and you can't really achieve anything. So it's very important that we use this time to improve our personal discipline over ourselves and try to keep that donkey in check, tame that donkey, so that donkey doesn't control us. And if we do that, and then after Ramadan, don't forget the lesson and keep that donkey controlled, then that donkey can become very useful in carrying us and helping us to achieve our real dreams, which are going to be blessed and beneficial for us and for our families and communities. So, I hope this has given some food for thought. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask me questions. I mean, you can ask me now, or you can forward me your questions in my inbox. Sometimes I might answer them publicly in one of these broadcasts. At other times I might message you back, depending on what it is. But I'm always happy to answer questions and support where I'm able. I think I will start the dhikr now. And normally this dhikr is a traditional Naqshbandi zikr would be done after Maghrib. And you can probably see, certainly on Instagram, you can see it's actually still bright and it's Asr time. But it's not going to be Maghrib for another, nearly 3/4 of an hour. So it's over half an hour away. And if I started then after iftar, then it would get very late, and my family wouldn't be too happy with me. So we have to work within what we can do. But whenever you read the zikr, there's always blessing in it. If you read it at certain times, it may have more blessing at other times, but it's always got blessing. And if you do it, you will feel that. Before we start the zikr, I will check my intentions. Now I'm going to recite something, but it's more about just checking your heart and remembering why you're doing what you're doing and checking those intentions are pure. نويت الأبين نويت الحسنى نويت الكوى نويت الاعتكاف نويت السلوك نويت الريادة لله تعالى في هذا جميع. I intend to perform the 40 days of retreat. I intend to retreat in isolation. I intend to retreat in solitude. I intend to perform the retreat. I intend to follow the path. I intend to perform the spiritual practices for Allah, the highest, in this place of worship. Worship your Lord until He grants you certainty. Now we begin with the kalima shahada, which is the declaration of faith in Islam. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. We seek Allah's forgiveness by reciting Astaghfirullah, which literally means asking Allah's forgiveness. Astaghfirullah, 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 astaghfirullah. أستغفر العظيم الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه إنه هو التواب الرحيم يا مسبب الأسباب يا مفاتيح الأبواب يا مقلب القلوب والأبصار يا دلائل المتفيتين يا غيث المستفيتين يا حي يا قيوم يا ذو الجلال والإكرام وأفريد أمري الله إن الله بصيرا بالعباد رابط الشريفة. Direct your hearts to the hearts of your sheikhs. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Salawatul Sharif. This is calling for blessings on the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu and his noble family. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala آل محمد وسلم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى 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 آل محمد وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك وإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك وإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك وإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الفاتحة الشريفة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. صلوات الشريفة. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم. 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 اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم 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 اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربك آتيتني من الملك وربطني من تبارها حديث. فطر السماوات والأرض أنت ولي في الدنيا والآخرة. توفاني مسلما ولكني بالصالحين. أمان بالله صدق الله العظيم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. إلى الشرف نبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الكرام وإلى وحي أنبياء ومرسلين وقدماء الشرعين وإلى إمامة أبواب وإلى مشركين أكترك نقشبنديات عالية كستني عليك وجغان الفاتحة. فنمنه لا إله إلا الله. No God except God. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. إلى الشرف نبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وآله وصحبه الكرام وإلى واهي سيسرتنا وصدقيون الفاتحة بسم الله. The remembrance of Allah. Allah just means the God in Arabic. Allah, 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 حسبنا ونعم الوكيل ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. Allah is often combined with who to make Allahu. Allahu means Allah is, God is with us. So now we recite who to remind us of the ever-presence of Allah. Who حسبنا ونعم الوكيل ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. God is truth. Truth in Arabic is haq. Haq, 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 haq. God is the ever-living one, never was born and never died. In Arabic, this can be said as Hey, 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 hey. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel wallahu la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. Allahu Allah Haq. 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 Allahu Allah Hay. 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 Allah Hay Ya Qayyum. 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 Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakeel wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. Now we call upon Allah's beautiful names. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yahu, Yahu, Ya Daim. Yahu, Yahu, Ya Daim. Yahu, Yahu, Ya Daim. Allah, Yahu, Ya Daim. Ya Daim, Ya Daim. Ya Daim, Ya Allah. Ya Daim, Ya Daim, Ya Daim, Ya Allah. Ya Halim, Ya Halim, Ya Halim, Ya Allah. Ya Halim, Ya Halim, Ya Halim, Ya Allah. Ya Hafiz, Ya Hafiz, Ya Hafiz, Ya Allah. Ya Hafiz, Ya Hafiz, Ya Hafiz, Ya Allah. Ya Latif, Ya Latif, Ya Latif, Ya Allah. Ya Latif, Ya Latif, Ya Latif, Ya Allah. Ya Grafa, Ya Grafu, Ya Grafa, Ya Grafu, Ya Grafa, Ya Grafu, Ya Grafa, Ya Grafu, Ya Sata, Ya Fata, Ya Sata, Ya Fata, Ya Sata, Ya Fata, Ya Sata, Ya Fata. Ya Mujib, Ya Mujib, Ya Mujib, Ya Allah. Ya Mujib, Ya Mujib, Ya Mujib, Ya Allah. Ya Mu'in, Ya Mu'in, Ya Mu'in, Ya Allah. Ya Mu'in, Ya Mu'in, Ya Mu'in, Ya Allah. Ya Mughith, Ya Mughith, Ya Mughith, Ya Allah. Ya Mughith, Ya Mughith, Ya Mughith, Ya Allah. Ya Wadud, Ya Wadud, Ya Wadud, Ya Allah. Ya Wadud, Ya Wadud, Ya Wadud, Ya Allah. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Rahim, Ya Karim, Ya Rahim, Ya Karim, Ya Rahim, Ya Karim, Ya Rahim, Ya Karim. Ya Hannan, Ya Mannan, Ya Hannan, Ya Mannan, Ya Hannan, Ya Mannan, Ya Hannan, Ya Mannan, Ya Dayyan, Ya Subhan, Ya Dayyan, Ya Subhan, Ya Dayyan, Ya Subhan, Ya Dayyan, Ya Subhan. Ya Subhan, Ya Sultan, Ya Subhan, Ya Sultan, Ya Subhan, Ya Sultan, Ya Subhan, Ya Sultan, Ya Sultan, Ya Sultan, Ya Sultan, Ya Allah. Ya Sultan, Ya Sultan, Ya Sultan, Ya Allah. Ya Salam, Ya Salam, Ya Salam, Ya Allah. Ya Salam, Ya Salam, Ya Salam, Ya Allah. Ya Aman, Ya Aman, Ya Aman, Ya Allah. Ya Aman, Ya Aman, Ya Aman, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, 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 Ya Allah. حسبنا ذا ونعم الوكيل لا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. صلوات الشريفة. بسم الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم. 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 اللهم صل على محمد وعلى Ali Muhammad wa sallim Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Ali Muhammad wa sallim Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Ali Muhammad wa sallim Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Ali Muhammad wa sallim Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Ali Muhammad wa sallim Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Ali Muhammad wa sallim Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Ali Muhammad wa sallim Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Ali Muhammad wa sallim Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Ali Muhammad wa sallim Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Ali Muhammad wa sallim Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Ali Muhammad wa sallim Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Ali Muhammad wa sallim صلي ربي وسلم على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى كل أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين على أشرف الأنبياء سيدنا محمد الصلوات على أفضل الأنبياء سيدنا محمد الصلوات على أكمل الأنبياء سيدنا محمد الصلوات صلوات الله وبركاته وأنبيائه ورسوله وجميع خلقه على محمد وعلى آل محمد عليه وعليهم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته رضي الله تبارك وتعالى عن ترتينا شعب رسول الله أجمعين وعن تبينا بهم بإحسان وعن مجتدين يوم الدين وعن علماء المتقين وعن أولياء الصالحين وعن مشايخنا بتركات نقشبندي هذه قد صلوتنا ومزاكيا ونعوتنا درته بركة وعد الله تعالى علينا من بركاتهم وفيوداتهم دائما والحمد لله رب العالمين الفاتحة بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Assalamu alaikum, Hassan.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I was asking,
thank you very
before
much.
we continue, I just want to ask, do you have any prayer requests? Because
I have
the final prayer.
Yes, I have a prayer request. I'm in Uganda and I completed my academics. I've just gotten a small job on contract, but my family is not doing well. I would love them to have shelter, and even other people that I look up to, like this Ramadan, there are certain people I tried 16 homes to give them, it's called Maize Flour, 16 homes. And I would love to God to answer my prayers through my sadaqah that I did, that small sadaqah out of my small sweat. And I would love Allah to open my doors. It was a hassle to finish a bachelor's. I think I contacted you some time back, but of course you said you could not trust me because of the knowing you on Facebook. But there was someone who helped me out, and I finished the bachelor's. So I would love. I would love God to do for me wonders, for the contract to become a permanent job, and for them to take me for further studies, and even to improve my family's financial conditions and health wise. My mom is diabetic. My mom is it has hypertension. She has hypertension, and my dad sometime back he got an accident. And is having a knee problem. He feels pain, it comes concurrently. So I just ask God to help me in that, and also to give me a wonderful wife and a home. Wife and a home. It's my theme for this Ramadan.
Amen. Amen. Ya Allah, we ask that you grant Hassan answer to his prayers and bless his family. Bless his community, make things easier for Hassan in his life, grant him success in his studies, in his career, in his efforts for his community, and bless everyone in his community and in his country of Uganda and everyone in Africa, Ya Allah, as well as the rest of the world, Ya Allah. اللهم صل
اللهم
على
آمين.
سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا
محمد
محمد
وعلى
وبارك
آل محمد
وسلم.
محمد وعلى آل
اللهم
وصحبه
صل على
وسلم
سيدنا
والحمد لله.
محمد وعلى آل
سيدنا
سيدنا محمد
محمد وعلى
وبارك
آل
وسلم.
محمد
اللهم
وصحبه
صل على
وسلم.
سيدنا محمد وعلى آل
سيدنا
سيدنا محمد
محمد
وبارك
وعلى آل
وسلم.
محمد وعلى آل.
Ya Allah, we ask you to shower your eternal blessings upon the soul of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and everyone in his noble
Allah.
family, his noble ancestors and his noble descendants, especially the household of the Prophet, especially Imam Ali, Hassan, Hussein, Zain al-Abidin, Jafar Sadiq, all of the Ahlul Bayt, all of the Sahaba Ikram, all of the previous prophets and their noble families, their noble ancestors and their noble descendants through to this day.
Amen.
And also the Khilafah Rashidin, the righteous caliphs, the scholars, the saints, and especially my sheikhs, Sufi Abdullah and Maulana Sheikh Nazim, Ya Allah, raise their souls in your divine presence and bless their souls for all eternity. Ya Allah, bless Sheikh Sharif Hidayatullah and all of the Wali Songo, the 9 founding saints of Indonesian Islam. Bless Sheikh Yusuf, bless Gusto, bless Sheikh Adan Badruddin, and bless my beloved father. Raise their souls in your divine presence and bless their souls for all eternity. Ya Allah, bless our mothers, bless our fathers, bless our families, bless our brothers and sisters, bless our cousins, bless everyone in our communities. Grant them to be healthy and to be granted the best of health and physical well-being. Grant them protection from this COVID, from other illnesses. Grant us forgiveness, Ya Allah. Grant us forgiveness, for we are full of sins, Ya Allah. But Ya Allah, forgive us. Only you can take away our sins. Only you can help us, inspire us to live on the right path, to make the right choices in life and do the best things, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we are eternally dependent and reliant upon you to guide our hearts in this way. For we are foolish ones, we are weak ones, Ya Allah. You say so in your Quran. So Ya Allah, we depend upon you, we rely upon you, and we beseech you through the blessing of the Prophet Muhammad also to grant us forgiveness for our sins and to grant us the right guidance, the right insights, the right blessings. Ya Allah, bless our families, bless our wives, bless our children, bless everyone in our communities, bless our friends, those real friends who stick by us when things are tough, Ya Allah. They are real friends, Ya Allah. Grant them extra blessings. Bless all our communities, Ya Allah. Bless everyone in our human family from all the different nations of the earth, Ya Allah. And grant that we may start to see ourselves truly as a human family, that these different nations are actually all part of the nation of Adam alayhi salam. We're all human beings, Ya Allah. Grant us to have this insight and understanding in every one of our hearts, and to build together the right kind of future that is beneficial for everyone in our human family. And not just for everyone in our human family, but for all the communities of living creatures with which we share this earth, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, they have rights too. You have granted them rights. You have granted them life. You have granted them a place on this earth, Ya Allah. And we need to take care of them and understand their rights and respect them. Ya Allah, encourage us to have this in our hearts, Ya Allah, this understanding, this respect. When we plan developments and stuff in the community, that we take into account their rights and make a place for the different creatures that share our communities even, but also share our countries, that we make a space for them. And that we don't pollute their environments or destroy their environments so that they cannot live in them. Ya Allah, forgive us for being such foolish ones, Ya Allah. There is such damage and destruction upon this earth, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, forgive us. And grant us inspiration and the right kind of guidance and thoughts in our minds to do the right things, Ya Allah, to build the best kind of societies, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, you give us the abilities, but we are still foolish ones, Ya Allah. Grant us to the right inspirations as well, so that we take the right decisions and go forward in the best possible way, so that our future generations will prosper upon this earth.
Allahumma ameen.
And also prosper in the hereafter. Ya Allah, forgive us. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala Sayyidina Muhammadin. Ya Allah, accept all of our fasts for everyone who is fasting in this holy month, and grant that this be a blessing for us, and not just from our fast, but also the lessons that we learn from fasting, the lessons we learn from our reflections and devotions, and contemplations within this holy month of Ramadan and throughout the year. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل لا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. صلى يا ربي وسلم على جميع أنبيائه ومرسلين وعلى كل أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. إلى حضرات النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وإلى أنبياء وإلى أولياء كستاني روحي شاه نقشبند وإلى الشيخ عبد الله فياض دغستاني وإلى زندبيا وإلى صوفي عبد الله وإلى مولانا الشيخ نازم وإلى الشيخ أدانغ بدرودين وإلى غوستو وإلى الشيخ هشام كباني وإلى الشيخ بادشاه وإلى الشيخ حبيب الله وإلى الشيخ داود وإلى الشيخ محمد وإلى الشيخ نور وإلى صحيح صدتين وصديقيون الفاتحة. بسم الله مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
آمين.
Thank you for joining us this evening, Hassan. You're always welcome if you want to join us, or if any of your friends or connections want to join us for the live Sohbet and Dhikr on a Thursday evening. And also when I go live on the Friday reflections. Unfortunately, I can't fix a time as to when that will be on a Friday because I have a lot of things to do on a Friday. So sometimes it's in the morning and sometimes it's in the evening. But there's always inshallah, a Friday reflections. But the Sohbet is always, well, it will be around Asr time in the UK now. So that's about 6:30ish, maybe 6 o'clock at the moment, because normally it would be after Maghrib. But you know, with the UK hours, it's only just turning Maghrib now. So
right now here it is 10:19. 10:19. We have already even broken my fast already. Even
here it is 90 minutes past 8. People are just starting to break fast in the UK. It is just turning Maghrib. But if I did the Dhikr just after eating, you know, and then did the Dhikr, I mean, I would be doing Dhikr at about 10 o'clock at night, and my family need this room at that time, so they'll be very angry with me. So we have to work around things because the days vary in length in the UK. In winter, it goes dark as early as 4 o'clock, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah,
thank you very
it's
much.
Quite different. You're very lucky in Uganda, you know, you have stable daylight hours throughout the year.
Yes,
beautiful climate.
Exactly. We are blessed to go. Allah has blessed us with a beautiful climate. Right now we are in a wet season. It rains almost daily, but we still thank Allah. The only thing that may be floods, they keep on, I think because of the drainage, they didn't plan well the drainage. So you find that floods all over. Sometimes when it over rains, it can rain sometimes for about 6 hours non-stop, and then you find such kind of challenges. So like what I told you, my parents, the roof is off and they're trying to put the roof back, and it is sometimes they're just getting such kind of challenges. Today my father told me he sleeps in a kitchen with the goats, and I was trying to ask them how do they get their suhoor, and they said that after I think my brothers join him. He sleeps with a gas. They join him to advise him on how to use it, not to risk his life with that, until they find that the roof is put back, and then they'll be okay with it. But I'm grateful for the prayers. May Allah answer our prayers. I also pray for you. May Allah finish all the difficulties that you have. May Allah bless you and your family. That you know Islam. May Allah expound Islam in your family and the entire world. I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to share with you, and I'm really grateful. You're indeed my brother. Thank you for the prayers. May Allah just answer my prayers and your prayers. Allahumma Ameen. Okay, let me leave you. Go and pray. you prepare for prayers.
Yeah. This is the thing. I have to go and read Maghrib and eat. So thank you for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you next time, inshallah. Salam alaikum.
Inshallah. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you.